5 real disappearances, no answers. They found a piece of her blanket, hanging in a tree branch, just hanging there in the middle of the woods. 6-year-old Lilly Sullivan, 4-year-old Jack Sullivan, gone. It was the morning of May 2nd, 2025, rural Nova Scotia, a mobile home on the edge of dense, remote forest. By the time anyone raised the alarm, the children were already gone.
Search and rescue came. Hundreds of officers, trained dogs, helicopters. They covered more than 40 kilometers of that forest. 40 kilometers. And what did they find? A cluster of small boot prints in the mud, and one piece of a little girl's blanket caught in a tree, like something had reached up and taken it. Over 8,000 videos were analyzed, 106 interviews conducted, nearly 1,200 tips, and still counting.
A year later, Lilly and Jack Sullivan have never been found. The woods have given nothing back. We'll come back to them. But first,
welcome to FreeForge. These are real stories, real people, real disappearances.
Welcome to FreeForge, the disappearance of Melissa Casias, Taos, New Mexico, June 2025. Her name was Melissa Casias, 53 years old, administrative assistant at Los Alamos National Laboratory.
She had a security clearance. On the morning of June 26, 2025, Melissa drove her husband Mark to work, came home, then just before 1 in the afternoon, she drove to a cafe in Taos and dropped off lunch to her daughter, Sierra. That was the last normal moment. At 1:38 p.m., both of Melissa's phones were wiped. Factory reset. Messages, contacts, photos, gone. Everything erased.
40 minutes later, at 2:18 p.m., a witness spotted a woman matching Melissa's description, walking east, alone, along remote Highway 518, a backpack on her shoulders, just walking into the desert.
Her wallet, her keys, her car, both phones, her identification, everything she would need to survive, left behind. The only thing missing was Melissa.
Investigators pulled license plate data. Her Volkswagen Jetta had been captured by readers along her regular route every single weekday going back to January. On June 26th, nothing. The car never moved. But here's what makes this story something else entirely. Melissa's security clearance had been revoked 3 weeks before she vanished. And she wasn't the only one.
1 month before Melissa disappeared, Anthony Chavez, 78, a Los Alamos construction foreman, walked out of his home on foot, was never found. 3 weeks after Melissa vanished, Monica Reza, 60, aerospace engineer at NASA JPL, disappeared on a hike in the Angeles National Forest, just stopped being there.
In February 2026, retired Air Force Major General William McCasland, 68, classified space weapons research at Wright-Patterson Air Force Base, walked out of his Albuquerque home, left his phone, left his glasses.
gone.
Her husband told investigators they had stopped at a gas station together that morning. Surveillance footage showed Melissa's car was never there. He changed his story. Her mother and siblings believe something happened to her. Her husband says she left voluntarily. Nobody knows why she wiped those phones. Nobody knows who she was afraid of. Nobody knows what she knew.
If you have information about Melissa Casias, New Mexico State Police, the number is in the description.
On May 20th, police identified them as sisters. Jane Editoro, 36, Christina Walters, and Rebecca Walters, 31, all three from Uxbridge, London. Police asked if anyone had seen the sisters in the Madera Drive area between 10 p.m. the night before and 5:30 a.m. that morning. 7.5 hours. Nobody saw anything.
Investigators reviewed hundreds of hours of CCTV footage. The cameras were not helpful.
They had been seen near Brighton's Palace Pier earlier in the evening. The pier, lit up, festive. The kind of place you go when you want to feel alive. Hours later, cold water, 3 sisters. Sussex police found no evidence of foul play, no evidence of anyone else being involved, which raises the only question left to ask, and no one has answered it.
Operation Leadmore, that's what police named the investigation, remains open. A number of hypotheses, they said, are still under consideration. They asked the public not to speculate. Note: their father, Joseph, released a statement. Quote, Jane, Christina, and Becky were the radiant light that enveloped our family with happiness and love. End quote. The radiant light. Lilly, 6 years old, and Jack, 4 years old. Sullivan, Lansdowne, Nova Scotia, May 2025. We started with them. Let's go back. Gairloch Road, Pictou County, a mobile home on the edge of the trees. The morning of May 2nd, 2025. The children were reported missing. And then the search. In Canada, 92% of missing children cases are resolved within a week. This one is now over a year old. The dogs covered 40 kilometers of that forest. They found nothing living.
The boot prints, small, child-sized, led to a clearing in the mud and stopped. The piece of Lily's blanket was found in a tree branch, not on the ground, not tangled in roots, in a tree. RCMP Staff Sergeant Rob McCammon said, and I'm going to read this exactly as he said it, the likelihood that the children being alive is very slim. He also said there is no evidence of abduction, no evidence of foul play. So what happened?
Nobody knows. 8,000 videos, 106 interviews, 1,200 tips. Their mother, Malaya Brooks Murray, says publicly she believes her children will come home. Investigators called this case profoundly rare. The only comparable case they could name was the Diamond and Tianda Bradley disappearance. Chicago, 2001. That case is also unsolved.
Volunteer searchers from the organization Please Bring Me Home continued searching the forests of Nova Scotia through the summer of 2026. Lilly was 6. Jack was 4. The woods kept everything they found. The Pietracatella recent murders. Molise, Italy, December 2025. December 23rd, 2025. A small village called Pietracatella, southern Italy, Molise region. A family sat down together for a Christmas feast.
Mussels, mushrooms, fish, a traditional Christmas cake made by a 90-year-old aunt. They ate together. By December 27th, Antonella DLC was dead, 50 years old. By the 28th, her daughter Sarah, 15 years old. Her husband Gianni Di Vita, a former mayor of the village, survived. Same meal. Another daughter who hadn't eaten that evening was completely unharmed. At first, investigators thought food poisoning.
Then the toxicology results came back. Ricin. Ricin is one of the most toxic substances known to science, derived from castor beans. A dose the size of a few grains of salt can kill an adult within days. There is no antidote. The case was immediately reclassified. Aggravated homicide with premeditation. Someone at that Christmas table, or someone who prepared the food before it got there, knew exactly what they were doing. The right people died. The right people lived. That is not an accident. 5 doctors were named as persons of interest. Electronic devices were seized from the home. Investigators examined the Christmas cake carefully. They summoned the 90-year-old aunt who made it. The motive, unknown. The method of delivery, still under investigation. The person responsible, not yet charged. As of May 2026, the Loreno Prosecutor's Office is still working. A mother and a 15-year-old girl, poisoned at Christmas dinner, while the rest of the family went home. And in the water, a woman, face down. Her name was Joanna Ruth Shields, 37 years old. The hikers noticed several things immediately. She was pale. She had visible marks around her neck. She had a head injury, and she was face down in the water. A man was present at the scene. He told the hikers he had found her that way. He identified himself as her husband. Her husband.
He was cooperating with authorities, investigators said. There was no known threat to the public. The death was classified as suspicious. No arrests were made. Cause of death undetermined. Toxicology tests pending. The Ventana Wilderness does not give up its secrets easily. No cameras, no passers-by, no cell towers, just trees and water, and a man who says he found her. The hikers who stumbled onto that scene, they will not forget what they saw.
A woman, face down, marks on her neck. and a man standing there, waiting. No arrest, no answer. Just a wilderness that tells no stories.
5 stories. 5 sets of families still waiting. If you know anything about Melissa Casias, about Lilly and Jack Sullivan, about Joanna Shields, the contact links are in the description. If these stories matter to you, subscribe. New stories every week.
Real ones. Sleep well.
Story 2. Brighton Sisters. https:/theguardian.com/uknews/2026/May/20/3 women found dead in sea off Brighton Beach, identified as sisters. Story 3. Sullivan Children. https://cbc.ca/news/Canada/Nova Scotia/Jack and Lilly Sullivan missing 1 year /9.7182916. Story 4. Italy Ricin. https://unionesadda.com/en/Italy/Ricin poison deaths continue to be investigated. Phones and computers will be seized from victims' homes on Monday /N5Z-NFF-B9.
Story 5. Joanna Shields. https://www.buzzfeed.com/crystalrow/terrifying things I learned, April 2026.